Twitter published a report. It was titled Russian Interference in the 2016 US Election, Bots and Misinformation. RT was mentioned multiple times in that report in the context of that alleged Russian influence, more specifically giving out confidential information about how much exactly RT had spent on their social media advertising on Twitter. That sum was given as around $270,000 in 2016 across all their channels, RT America, Spanish and International. Not so different a strategy any international news channel would use to promote their material on social media.
Yeah, most of a bunch of leftist crap.
You also say Twitter will soon be going to testify before Congress with regards to these allegations of Russian interference. That will happen in just a few days' time on the 1st of November. No doubt RT will also be given a mention in that testimony.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
Gerald Celente is going to be hosting the 3rd hour today. And then we're going to have Anthony Cumia in the 4th hour. I was thinking, you know what? Just let him have the hour. I want to be here, but I'll just interrupt the whole time. So he'll be here. I'm going to get to some of your calls. And then come up in a few minutes, we'll get a breakdown for Celente on what he's going to be covering in the next hour. Top trends forecaster. But look at this article that was on Infowars.com a few days ago that I read, I meant to cover. And then I heard Leanne McAdoo during the break. A lot of our radio ads aren't radio ads. They're just 1-minute little information news pieces. It's just something we do. We just change things up. And I'd forgotten in the documents, the CIA visited Lanza and reportedly recruited him about a year before the shooting. I mean, they bulldozed the house to get rid of it. I don't know what really happened with Sandy Hook, folks. We've looked at all sides. We played devil's advocate from both sides. But, I mean, it's as phony as a $3 bill with the CNN doing fake newscasts with blue screens. And I mean, Nancy Grace got caught doing it, Anderson Cooper. I mean, that is just a crazy, that's the kind of stuff that I read on Infowars.com that I don't even get to. Speaking of that, RT. You know, if I got criticism of RT, Russia's been infected by the same globalism and fake liberalism we have. And RT was like too pro-Hillary. It had some anti-Hillary, so it was like more anti-Hillary than, say, CNN, but not as anti-Hillary as Fox News. And RT America was just like leftist, because that's who the so-called journalists are. So when I get my orders from RT and all this, and they have congressional hearings, it's comical now that it's come out that it's all fake and PP-Gate's fake and all the rest of it. But in a big move, Twitter bans Russia Today, Sputnik, and other outlets that are partially government funded. And saying they stole the election. I mean, that's in all the PP-Gate dossiers and all the rest. It's all fake. Of course the Russians tried to influence very weakly. I mean, RT America has like 100,000 viewers every few hours. I don't want to say it's a joke, but I mean, we're bigger than it, okay? A lot bigger. RT Global's big, but it's like very intellectual, kind of leftist, pretty dry. I mean, not the point is that banning it sets the precedent to ban whatever they want. And it's a big deal. Here's RT breaking it down, then we'll go to your calls, and Gerald Celente will give us a little prelude of what's coming up. But here is Andrew Farmer from RT.
RT has revealed the details of an advertising offer made by Twitter during the US presidential elections. Back in 2016, Twitter did make a large sum proposal to RT offering to promote the channel's coverage, and now the media giant is set to testify, though, to Congress on alleged Russian meddling after including RT in its report on the matter. So let's get more details now from Dan Hawkins, who joins us from central Moscow. New information coming out, Dan, which does change things slightly.
Indeed, Andy. Before we go to that story, let's just give a bit of background as to what exactly has happened here. As you just mentioned, at the end of September, Twitter published a report. It was titled Russian Interference in the 2016 US Election, Bots and Misinformation. RT was mentioned multiple times in that report in the context of that alleged Russian influence, more specifically giving out confidential information about how much exactly RT had spent on their social media advertising on Twitter. That sum was given as around $270,000 in in 2016 across all their channels, RT America, Spanish and International. Not so different a strategy to any international news channel would use to promote their material on social media.
Yeah, most of a bunch of leftist crap.
Now, as you also say, Twitter will soon be going to testify before Congress with regards to these allegations of Russian interference. That will happen in just a few days' time on the 1st of November. No doubt RT will also be given a mention in that testimony. As you mentioned there, RT was offered a high-cost, comprehensive special package by Twitter, specifically tailor-made for the US presidential election. That package would have contained many special customized features.
To advertise that RT was covering it. And because of the pressure on RT, it got even worse. A lot of it was like anti-gun, anti-America stuff. In fact, I did pieces last year saying, maybe RT should lose its license. They're becoming show pro-Hillary. Remember those pieces? RT America. Now, RT Global was not like that, but RT America, I know people that work there. It was just overrun with leftists. I mean, it's just like in the deep state with Trump. He gives orders, and then I'm sure RT was not trying to be pro-Hillary. But it's just this country is so infested in government and media with these people that they would not have fair reporting. I'm ranting. I want to go to Gerald Celente, get his take on this, and take a few calls before he fully takes over. But let's just go ahead and finish up. Here it is.
Customized features, from special emoji hashtags to research and analytics, media strategy, to enable, according to Twitter themselves, a wider reach to U.S. audiences.
Yeah, so let's hit pause. They're already advertising with a Twitter strategy. Then they advertise a bigger strategy, and then they later claim that strategy, because it's an election, means they wanted to hack the election, when all it was, watch us, we have election coverage. You know, with people like Larry King, the liberal, that's their election coverage guy, was Larry King. Oh my gosh, the right-winger. Not even a right-winger, a liberal. The Russians' only problem is they're trying to mimic our establishment too much. That RT's too milquetoast. Tell you what, let me run RT. We'll see what goes on here. I mean, I'll put like a Russian hat on. I'm joking. I'm not being serious there. Let's cue up the joke video if we can from the other night. Let's finish up with RT.
For the US presidential election. Now, after some negotiations, that offer was actually declined by RT for the reason that it had a very high price tag that went over all social media budgets available for that year. Another interesting
fact. That's enough. I love how they used the blueprint of them advertising to them what they wanted them to buy as the proof of an election. Proof they influenced the election. They bought a small ad package with us to promote that they had election coverage. And then the coverage was Larry King. I mean, folks, Larry King is middle of the road, to the left. Gerald, you're taking over here, and I promised you a few of these calls. You're going to come back in about 5 minutes, but just briefly, what do you make of Russiagate? You're going to be hosting the next hour, collapsing, all Hollywood collapsing, the Republican establishment resigning en masse. I mean, this is happening quicker than I thought. It's like lemmings running off the edge of a cliff. What's happening?
Disgusted with. You look at the elections that just happened in the Czech Republic, in Austria, in Germany, in Italy, in the Catalan movement to break away from Spain. It's anti-establishment is the term that they use. But it's really not anti-establishment. It's disgust with the corrupt system. And this whole Russiagate thing, it's total nonsense. I mean, they bought, what, $33,000 worth of ads a year over 3 years on Facebook. $33,000, what does Facebook do? About $28 billion a year?
By the way, Facebook, just to let you share to 5% of your audience we've tested, cost us $20,000. We've spent probably $1 million on Facebook just to let us reach our own fans, and then they even cheat us on that, so we stopped. I mean, I've spent more on these platforms than RT.
That's what I'm saying. And then what do they say, 200,000? And you remember that video, again, anti-establishment? How about pure disgust? Remember Victoria Nuland? Oh, you liberals, you forgot Victoria Nuland. That was Obama, the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner's Assistant Secretary of State at the Washington Press Club. I believe it was December 12, 2013, with a sign of ExxonMobil and Chevron, as she's talking about how Ukraine has to go toward Europe and follow the path set forth by the IMF, and they overthrew the democratically elected government of Yanukovych, and she brags that the United States spent $5 billion. How about talking about the hundreds of billions of dollars the Americans spend in overthrowing and influencing?
And let's be clear, globalists that hijacked America. Excellent point. Gerald Celente coming up about 6 after. I had a few of your calls from folks patiently holding. We come back, and then Gerald Celente's hosting the 4th hour. We also have a compilation at the end of the hour coming up. When I went around Austin for an hour last Monday night, was it Tuesday night, and I just had people attacking me. But it was every 5th or 6th person screaming F you. I want to ask Gerald Celente coming up why the leftists are so programmed. Where is this coming from? Briefly. You're the power of the InfoWar, folks. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com. We have a lot of new specials, 50% off Anthroplex. That's the dry form of Supermel Vitality, vitamin D3, 50% off. Colloidal silver, 50% off. Huge, biggest specials ever on these products because I want you to see how great they are. Thank you all for your support. InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or 888-253-3139.
What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com.